welcome to the Mindset and Muscle podcast. I'm your host, Keshi, and today we're going to be talking about macro tracking or tracking your calories versus having a meal plan. Which one is maybe better? If any one of them is better, pros and cons of both, basically, and then maybe which one you should choose. So, macro tracking would be, again, tracking calories using an app like Chronometer or MyFitnessPal, and then a meal plan would be following recipes that you have, the same recipes, the same amount that you have already planned out for you. So let's get right into it. Actually, before we get right into it, if you're liking the podcast so far, please give me a 5-star rating on Spotify or wherever you're listening to it. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Okay, let's get into it now. So let's start with the pros of tracking your macros or tracking your calories. And I'm not really going to differentiate between tracking carbs, fats, and proteins separately and then just tracking calories. I'm just going to kind of put those two together versus like meal plans, which are, again, two very different approaches and both work. So, actually, let's start with the pros of meal plans. The first one is that it's simple. A meal plan is like you don't have to think about it. It's already there. You don't have to think about what you're going to eat. A lot of us are just wondering, what am I going to eat today? It's there. It's some meal plans might have a few options for you. So you might have like 5, for example, the meal plans that I do for my clients have like 5 options for breakfast, 5 for lunch, 5 for dinner, and then like 5 for snacks, for example. Or if they have 2 snacks during the day, 5 each. And then that would be the meal plan for that month. And then next month, we switch things around. Or if they want to keep going, we can keep going with that one. But most people then would want to switch. So it's simple. They don't have to think about it. Or if they have to think about it, they literally just choose one out of 5 options. There's not that much decision going into it. So you don't have that decision to make every day. And then it's better in terms of consistency. So even if the data technically is inaccurate for some of it, you can still make changes on that and it will still work. For example, if you that applies to just eating the same thing every day, whether you're tracking or on a meal plan. If you're eating the same thing every day, and then let's just take the example of you tracking. You tracked something wrong, but you eat that every day. You could still just, and you, for example, you just didn't lose weight when you're supposed to. When you make changes to maybe decrease the amount that you're eating anyway, even if your tracking is still off, it's still wrong, you're making changes based on that and it will still work. So the fact that meal plans offer this consistency, I would say, it makes it better that like I think making changes to that is just gonna make it easier to stay consistent. Now, cons of the meal plan. One, it's less flexible, obviously, than macro tracking or flexible dieting. Actually, macro tracking is also called flexible dieting. So, yeah, meal plans are a lot stricter, even if it's not restrictive per se. Maybe, and that includes the meal plans that I make for my clients as well, they do include like chocolate or might include like snacks that you want to have. That's totally fine. So it's not restrictive, but it's still stricter because you only have a couple options to choose from if you choose the meal plan route. And then it can get boring. Like I said, I still try to give a few options and then also we change it up every month. But it can still get boring. Maybe some people just want a different thing every day or a different thing every 2 days and then they don't want to have the same 5, switching around the same 5 types of like breakfast or lunch or dinner, whatever, for a whole month. So it's less exciting for sure. That's actually like the boring part is what makes it like consistent, which makes it a pro. But then again, a con of that is that it can get boring. And then it is also harder to learn to maintain your weight loss without it. So if you just get dependent on a meal plan, you might not know how to lose weight once you're not on that meal plan anymore. So if you're willing to learn to kind of like switch things around yourself, maybe, um, like once you've reached your target, your goal weight, then that could work. But yeah, you could, if you just get dependent, which is also why a lot of people don't like meal plans at all, because then they're like, what are you going to do once you're off it? Which is fair. You might not know exactly or as well how to maintain. However, I feel like it might be easier to lose weight with a meal plan compared to with a flexible dieting approach, just because of that consistency than you have. Like, people take a while to even learn how to track, so I feel like you might just see quicker progress with that stricter approach. But flexible dieting might be more fun. But then again, some people don't like tracking, so whichever works for you. Both are fine in my opinion. So now I guess it's going to be the opposite for flexible dieting or macro tracking, but we're going to go through it still. So the pros of tracking your calories is that it allows you flexibility. Today you want to have two little pieces of chocolate minis with your lunch, just track it. Or you want to have an ice cream for dessert after dinner, have it. You're going out with your friends or something, just track it. You don't have to stick to like a meal plan. You can just eat whatever you want as long as it fits in your macros. And there we have the if it fits your macros approach. I'm not like 100% pro just using that, because it's more than just about calories. Well, weight loss, yeah, you have to have. So you basically, what I'm saying is that you could be losing weight but still not be healthy. So if you're only eating McDonald's, or you're only eating like Skittles or Oreos, you could still lose weight just eating those, but you're gonna be starving. So basically, if you're only eating McDonald's and then you still are in a calorie deficit, that's not going to be a lot of McDonald's. So you're going to be very hungry throughout the day, but then again, you're still going to lose weight. Are you going to be healthy though? Not really. So I definitely don't recommend just using tracking macros as an excuse to just eat like a lot of junk food, a lot of ultra processed foods, but then it allows you more flexibility to incorporate whatever you want whenever you want. Basically, if you want to put it that way. So I don't have to feel like I can't add a chocolate that my friend gave me today because that's not on my meal plan. I can just swap something else out and it's great. And then another pro adding on to that is that it allows you to have a good idea of like an estimate of the macros and the calories in different foods. I would recommend everybody to track their food for at least a period of time, just so you have an idea of the calories in an apple, or like a bunch of different vegetables versus chicken breast versus an avocado versus, why am I saying this word so weird? Versus, that's the word. um, Maybe like a can of beer or a can of Coke or something like that. So it's good to have an estimate of the different amounts of calories in different foods and drinks. And just tracking for a short amount of time is going to allow you to do that. But it's definitely something that takes some practice. And then once you're comfortable with it, you are able to have a good estimate without actually weighing everything and putting it in MyFitnessPal to know. So then flexible dieting allows you to be able to swap things in and out easier. For example, like I said, let's just say you had already planned your day for your whole like meals for the day, and then your friend gave you like a Kit Kat bar or something, or Hershey's bar, and that Hershey's bar is 220 calories, let's just say. So now you want to eat the whole bar, but you want to still stay within your calories. So you just remove something else from there for that day, and voila, you're still in your calorie deficit. Let's just say if that's what you want to be in. Although, again, if you're in a calorie deficit, maybe eating the whole chocolate bar is not a good idea because it's going to probably leave you a little hungry. Um, but those are some of the pros of tracking your macros. It can be, again, a little bit more exciting too, which is the opposite of the meal plan, just because you can add whatever you want. But then the cons is that, one, it takes some practice. The learning curve is like steeper than the meal plan because the meal plan has like basically zero learning curve, I would say. You just kind of follow what you're told. But yeah, in this case, you have to take some time to learn and you're going to make some mistakes and it's going to be fine. Maybe you're going to be measuring something cooked and then you're going to be, or like you're going to be weighing it cooked, but then tracking it as raw or vice versa. Maybe you don't even know um, how to track maybe like a steak or something. Like you don't even know what to type in. And you're going to find at first it's easier to track things that are processed because you can just scan the barcode. But then obviously you want to stick to lightly processed or unprocessed foods as much as possible compared to ultra processed foods. So it's a learning curve for sure. And then it's also harder, a little bit harder to lose weight, especially maybe at first, just because you're more prone to error. Like it's whether even if you hit your calories like perfectly, let's just say yourself, it's still not going to be perfect. Like for example, if you're measuring like blueberries, like not all blueberries are going to be exactly the same, right? But that's going too deep into it. Just in general, you're more likely to maybe not consider some things when you're tracking macros. For example, you might forget to add ketchup, or you might forget the oil or the tablespoon of oil that you used when you cooked your food. So it's just a little bit harder again um, to lose weight in that sense. But again, that just takes a little bit of practice, and you can absolutely lose weight. Or I'm taking losing weight as an example, and I will often use it as an example just because I feel like a lot of my audience has that as goal. But yeah, obviously it's going to be the same thing for if you want to build muscle, whatever it is. So now you might be wondering, what's the best method? Which one is better? I would say a mixture of both. If you are, like I said, you should all learn to at least track your calories for a little bit, just to have an idea, just so you know approximately what choices are better to make based on that. And when I say better, I just mean for your building muscle slash losing weight goals. For example, if you want to be in a calorie deficit or a calorie surplus, whichever one you want at the moment, you'll have a better idea of which is better. But I would say that if you are especially in a calorie deficit, so if you want to lose weight, it's better if you learn to track and then create your own meal plan, which is what I do. So then you can change your meal plan around whenever you need to, or you can have a whole new meal plan every week if you want to. And that's just going to be based on what exactly you want to eat that week. If you are in a maintenance phase or a building phase, then I would say just tracking, I feel, is better. Just weighing your food and tracking, because I don't think anybody should live their whole life on a meal plan or on meal plans. That's just, I have this option. I considered whether I should have this option or not, but I had this option in case people's only two choices in their minds were meal plans or not doing anything at all to lose weight. So then in that case, I would say start with a meal plan. And then we can talk about if you want to go into macro tracking. And for me, have like the meal plan option is more expensive because I also want to encourage people who want to go into macro tracking to use that route if they can and if they want to, And also because obviously it takes me time to create a custom meal plan for you, because it's not just one random one that I have. I will ask for your preferences. I will ask for not only allergies, but what you like and what you don't like, the number of meals that you want during the day. So it could be 3 meals, it could be 3 meals and a snack, it could be 3 meals and two snacks, and things like that. And then I will track your, I will not track your macros, but I will calculate your information, and I will use those calories and those macros to then create your meal plan. Again, if you can do that yourself, that's the best option, because you can change it as often or as rarely as you want to. Or even if something comes up, even if you are on your meal plan, you know that you can just swap something around. So, yeah, that was everything. And again, a mixture of both, but I personally prefer tracking my macros and my calories. I track my calories and my protein. Some people track carbohydrates, fats, and proteins separately, and then yeah, that would just add up to the total calories. But I don't think I need, like, for me, it doesn't really matter that much if I have more carbs or more fat, as long as I'm having a minimum amount of fat, which sometimes I don't reach for some reason. I just eat a lot more carbs and very little fat. Like it's weird. I don't know. But so then in those cases, if my coach finds that, then she'll just kind of note that, hey, make sure you're getting at least this amount of fat. And then I incorporate some more. I incorporate some more avocado, some more just whatever, nuts and seeds in my diet. But just in general, I track my calories and then my protein, making sure I hit my protein goal. And then I also take a look at my fiber intake to make sure I'm having enough fiber as well. But that's, again, we're not really talking about that right now. And at the end of the day, it's up to you. So, whichever you think, based on those pros and cons that I talked about, which ones were, oh my God, that's like, yeah, no, I could never do that, versus which one was like, yeah, that's inconvenient, but it's okay. That's an okay con for me. So then you'll know, you'll have a good feeling of which one you prefer. And then whether you prefer macro tracking or flexible dieting, I offer both services. So I'll have my link in the show notes or in the description below. So make sure if you want to apply to work with me, yeah, just join the team, join the family, and I can help you with either approach that you choose. Basically, even if you want to start with meal plans but then want to slowly learn to track your own macros, we can do that, and you can change the plan like whenever you want. Like basically like the next month, if you're like, oh, I don't actually like meal plans that much, I want to track macros, or you start tracking macros and you're like, oh, I want to choose a meal plan, we can just like switch back and forth. And the meal plan is a little bit more expensive, like I mentioned, but again, we can kind of switch back and forth on a month to month basis if you want to. I do recommend you choosing a 3 month package to start, just because in 1 month you might not see like visible progress that much, because it takes a little bit to build the habits and things like that. But in 3 months, then it's going to be more likely. Like if you commit to 3 months, that's plenty of time to give you results. Thank you once again for listening to this episode. I'm really grateful for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.